Hello, it's Charles Lewis again coming to you from Diamond Mind Studios, where we encourage you to utilize the power of your beautiful mind to reach your fullest potential. Today, I want to talk to you about how being selfish gets the blessing. So, first, we're just going to, hit it on the surface level and then I'll go a little bit deeper. Number one, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I guess this is for my nurturers out there that it's in your heart to nurture people and help people out and put yourself last and go above and beyond the call of duty for people, and it's all fine and dandy. I mean, obviously we are all here to be a blessing to someone else. We are blessed to be a blessing to someone else. But you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you wear yourself out, you will be of no use to those people that you're trying to nurture. So sometimes you just have to say no. I don't care if it's somebody asking you for something or wanting you to run an errand for them or wanting you to pick them up or wanting you to grab this from the store or whatever the case may be. Sometimes your plate is just too full, and sometimes you have to say no. And who cares if it hurts that person's feelings or not, because they're not caring about the load and the burden that you're carrying. In a interaction, both people should gain some type of value from it. It's not always going to be the case, but there should be something gained. Like, say somebody's asking you to do something, okay, and you had the time to do it. You're not gaining any value from doing that favor, but you do have the time, and it's not going to impact your life in any negative type of fashion. You just go ahead and do it. It's not a big deal. But if you don't, you're going to have to weigh that out. Like, I just don't have the time. Sometimes it's not even about the time. Sometimes you just don't have the energy, right, to deal with anything else at that point. You've had a long week or you've had a long day. You're at your breaking point. You're overwhelmed. I just know. Maybe it's an invitation to come over for a family dinner or something. No. Because this is the thing. If you don't really want to do something and you do it anyway, begrudgingly, you're going to have a chip on your shoulder. And 9 times out of 10, that does not end well. You go in a situation with foul energy. It's not going to take much to set you off. So you may as well just avoid that whole situation. So saying no and just protecting your peace, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. Be selfish with your energy. If you know that you have people in your life, whether it's a family member or somebody that you've had a long relationship with, and you understand that their negative energy is having an impact on you, remove yourself. Start to distance yourself slowly but surely, because that's not adding value. You're adding value to them, but they're not adding value to you. And I know in a lot of situations when you're being a blessing to somebody, you don't always receive value. But you have to be a little bit more selfish. I'm not telling you not to do things for anybody or be a friend or be a shoulder to lean on or an ear, but don't be that sounding board all the time. People will dump all their garbage on you, and now you have to carry their burden. So that was the surface level part of it. So we'll go a little bit deeper now. Giving is actually selfish. So I know it's a little bit counterintuitive to what I said, or that I just previously said, but when you talk about sowing seeds, or maybe, helping somebody financially, if you're a good person, you're going to feel good when you do that. So you're receiving a benefit from that, right? Doesn't cost you. You have resources enough to help somebody out. It's a good feeling. And obviously, giving is a spiritual principle. When you sow a seed, you're going to reap a harvest. And like I told you in previous videos, you expect that harvest to come from God, not from the person that you blessed. So if I'm giving Mary $100, I can't look to Mary if down the line, if I have a financial struggle or something like that and I need the $100, I can't hope that I receive the harvest from the exact same place where I sowed the seed. So a lot of times, what the easier thing to do, if you're going to give somebody some money or something like that, give it to somebody who can't give it back. Like, unfortunately, most of us have friends or family members that are incarcerated. Send them some money. You can't get it back from them. Give it to somebody that can't financially give it back to you, and even on the outside. And it's a selfish act, because you're going to receive a harvest from God. Because obviously, anybody that has ever helped any of your children out, you hold them in a special place in your heart. God does the same way, feels the same way when you help his kids and his children out, whether it's financially or sowing seeds of encouragement. Giving encouragement brings me to my next point. I mean, it costs you a little bit of time, and a lot of people that need to be encouraged, they have negative energy, so be prepared for them to try to argue for their limitations. When I want to encourage somebody negative, I know what I want to say, okay? I know I'm going to have to rebut a couple of things, but I also have a time limit. And I'm looking like this is only going to be a 3-minute conversation, or I'm only going to allow this to go on 5 minutes. I'm going to say my piece. I'm going to combat a couple of negative things that they say, and then I'm out of there, right? Got to sow that seed and keep it moving before that negative energy impacts you. So giving is also selfish, because you receive an emotional benefit, because you feel good, because you've helped somebody else out. Also, you have that harvest that you could receive spiritually. Also, forgiveness is probably one of the most selfish acts that you can exercise. I'm redundant about this, and purposely so. We need to tap away at the foundation of the stigma that's been attached to forgiveness. And that stigma is that it's more for the person that's being forgiven than the person that's doing the forgiving. So by forgiving a person, I'm therefore justifying what they did, and I'm giving them my forgiveness. And why would I give something to somebody that's taking something away from me? Well, you're giving it to yourself. Because when you forgive by faith, which is, the way that I forgive, I look at, there's always something that created a behavior. There's always a foundation of some type of behavior. So something caused it, right? People just don't wake up in the morning just with, well, some people do. But most people don't wake up in the morning with full intentions. They're operating on a program that a program that trauma has programmed your behavior in a certain way, that if you get triggered in certain situations and you behave erratically because those underlying causes of the trauma have not been addressed. But the way that I forgive, I look at it, I'm like, you know, the old adage is hurt people hurt other people, right? If you're hurting, you're gonna, and that hurt isn't addressed, you're gonna act out and hurt somebody else. So what I do is, as I say, this person has been hurt in some way, some type of way, and it hasn't been addressed, and they're just acting out. I'm no better than them, because when I had unaddressed pain and trauma, I acted out in a fashion that I'm not proud of. How can I hold this person to a higher standard than I hold myself? And some things that people do to you are egregious, and yeah, there's worse things than other things, but all behavior, all negative behavior has a foundation in trauma, and unless that's addressed, it's just gonna keep happening. And it's not forgive and forget, it's forgive and release is basically what it is. You can't forget what they did because you know that person has that trauma inside them, so you want to avoid it the next time. Don't put yourself in that same situation. But by freeing them from that burden, it's a psychological exercise. It's a mental and psychological and spiritual exercise. When you free them from the burden of their behavior, right? And you're not justifying it. It's just you're explaining it. You're explaining it in a way that your mind can understand, so your mind can be more prone to just release it. When you release that person from their burden, you release yourself from that burden. People that have held things, that I've held on to things that people have done for years. I mean, when I did the simple act of just forgiving, like, you know what, Lord, I forgive them by faith. I know it was something that caused this trauma. Somebody did something to them. They haven't addressed it, and I hope that they get the help that they need. And I release any burden that I have. I release any hate that I have towards them. That yoke is broken in my life right now, and I wish them the best. When I've done that, it's been such a release for me. It's almost like you can feel the pressure just lifting up off of you. It's the most selfish act ever. It's just forgiveness. Let it go. Just let it go. It's so selfish. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. Let it go. It is not worth it. They're not worth it. But you are worth it. You are worth not carrying around trauma. They got over on you once, and when you hold on to it, right, what it's gonna do is you holding this inside, and you're gonna be triggered, and it's gonna eventually affect not only how you feel about yourself, how you feel about other people. It's gonna affect your relationships. It's gonna maybe interfere with the way you interact with your bosses or your peers or your friends, and you just spreading trauma down. Just stop it in the tracks. Somebody gave it to them, and they're giving it to you. You can stop it right now. You can stop the trauma right now with you. Release that burden and move forward in peace and love. So that's all I got for you today. I want you to focus on Being selfish, you can't pour from an empty cup. Give financially if you have it. Give encouragement if you can't give the finances. Give forgiveness. Right? Be selfish with your time and energy and say no sometimes. God bless you.